minutes since we've been on. If you're not familiar with the channel, I'm Zulu King L1, and we got our brother Shaka Zulu Wap, you know what I'm saying, in the building with us.
Peace.
Salute. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Wa alaikum
Um,
salam wa rahmatullah.
um, so today we just wanted to come on here. We got a couple episodes for you. If you haven't hit that subscribe, definitely hit that subscribe, hit that like on here. We talk about hip hop culture. We drop some knowledge here and there, and we talk about the streets once in a while too. Um, but it's really central on hip hop, and we try to focus and give some jewels, drop some knowledge when we can. But today, um a couple of days back, Governor Kathy Hochul, who's the governor of New York State, had signed into legislation that the 110th street station where the 2 and the 3 line is going to be now known as the Malcolm X Plaza. So they did a celebration in honor of Malik Shabazz, Haj Malik Shabazz. And I think that's an incredible honor to the brother, his daughters, his legacy, you know what I mean? And now instead of I think it was like Columbus Circle or Central Park North, now it's called Malcolm X Plaza. Shout out to all the legislators and everybody that was a part of that, signing that into effect. That's a big honor. Um, and where he did a lot of his work too.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely dope. It's definitely always good to see our leaders past, leaders of the past get recognition. It's a shame that he doesn't get more,
Mhm.
because I remember you was telling me they in the article they were saying he was a civil rights leader, but a few years ago he wasn't seen as such.
Mhm.
you know um
A radical.
right, I was just about to say that. They
Mm.
seemed him as, like, they deemed him as a radical. um but we know, like, his work, and he stood on his principles. So yeah, shout out to the family. I actually got to meet one of his daughters,
Mm.
when I did the Muhammad Ali 50th birthday in California, the one that rapped,
Mhm. Mhm.
Ilyasa, think that was her name.
Right, she's one of the more active sisters, right?
Right,
Continuing
yeah.
his work, right, as well,
Mhm,
I believe.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
I met her. I was a kid too. I think I might have been like 9 or 10 when I met her. It was dope. It was a dope experience. Like, and she looks just like him,
Right.
from what I remember. But yeah, that's dope, man. I wish he would get more recognition. I wouldn't say like that he gets a day. It would be dope. I always felt like that as a youngster,
Yeah.
like Martin Luther King got a day. Why doesn't Malcolm have a day? And then,
Mhm.
like, when you study and, like, you see why, that he doesn't have a day. But a street named after him, an area, is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it certainly
You know.
is. The brother has the masjid, I believe, on 116,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
in
That's been
Harlem.
there for years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and then his wife, Dr. Betty Shabazz, unfortunately, the location where that was once the grounds of his assassination, the Audubon Ballroom, is now known as the Dr. Betty Shabazz Center.
Hmm.
You could see it outside. The building still looks the same, um, but now it bears the name of Dr. Betty Shabazz. And unfortunately, the brother was assassinated at 39 years old and didn't get to apply, I guess, what, the changes that he was striving for. And I think he had a lot of work to do, and he would have been that much more incredible with some more time on this earth. Um, you know, may Allah have mercy on his soul,
I mean,
and know that we still respect, admire, and honor his work and legacy, for many years to come. And you know it's dope that New York and in particular Harlem and Washington Heights still has these areas in his name. And all we could do is, I guess, read about him, read as many books as possible about him. If you haven't read the autobiography of Malcolm X, it's definitely like a mandatory reading for any brother or sister, you know what I'm saying? That should be like that's one of the first books that you read when you start to come into some type of knowledge of culture, you know what I'm saying? And want to,
Mhm.
it's, something that when I read, it's funny you said because like he should have like a day, like a nationally celebrated day. When I read
Right,
that, I said, wow, this brother needs his own day, like Martin Luther King Jr.,
right,
his own national
right,
holiday
right.
to honor him. Because it's one of those books that you read and it will change you, you know what I'm saying? And have you rethinking how you moving and rethinking the experience of the black man in America, you know what I'm saying? Just from what his father experienced, what his family experienced, Malcolm X's trials and tribulations, his shortcomings, and then ultimately coming into Islam, taking Shahada, learning what true Islam is. It's an incredible story, man. And it was captured very well in the
Right,
1992 film by
right,
Spike Lee, which is another,
right.
at 12 years old or when you was 10, we see that movie. I remember my mom buying the VHS and
Mhm.
watching that, and man, it was like one of the greatest movies that I had ever saw at that point. You know what I'm
I saw it
saying?
in the
Like,
movies. My mom took me to the
wow,
movies to see it. Yeah,
man,
it was deep.
yeah. Shout
It
out to
was
Mom
deep.
Dukes, the queen, for
More,
for bringing you. That was the right
more,
move. Where
more, more.
um, because she could have took you to go see Terminator 2 or something,
Right,
something that
right,
came out
right,
around that time, which I did
right,
wind up
right,
seeing Terminator
right.
2 and
I remember
Freddy
everybody
Krueger.
was wearing the X hats too. The X
Word, yeah,
Scullies, the
yeah,
Scullies, and
yeah.
the fitteds, the
That's a
snapbacks
fact.
rather, the
Right.
snapbacks rather.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a fact.
It's funny.
Everybody had it on.
It's funny because Harlem Week was just over the weekend, and my mother and my aunts were there, and my aunt had a table, and I was like, Dad, well, my mother was explaining it to me, like talking about what was going on and how she enjoyed herself. I was like, I haven't been there since you used to take me in my youth, and just seeing like all the books, the culture, and a lot of his work, a lot
Mhm,
of Malcolm's work, on display.
mhm.
It's dope though. It's dope. Shout out to the Shabazz family. It's
Yeah, that's where they actually unveiled this during Harlem Week
yeah.
for that
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
his daughters in attendance. So, that's definitely dope. Yeah, man. Shout out to peace and love to his family. Um and like I said, let's continue to, research his work and speak on it and, you know, share it with, family members, youth, people that need, because the brother came a long way from where he was, the Detroit Red, the street hustler, you know what I'm saying? It's a big amount of growth that was like basically shown, you know what I'm saying? So I think all of us have come from a lower level and came into some type of consciousness or knowledge that shaped us and inspired us. And he's a big part of inspiring, I guess, what they so-called Black excellence now. I think he's one of the original brothers that, put that out there. Not with that title per se, but
Hmm.
just making people strive for excellence, you know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
improving the state of the people, So for
And taking
that,
pride in who they are, also
right,
being
right,
prideful,
right,
especially during that time when he was he wasn't with integration. He was just with strengthening his people,
right.
and telling them that they're equal to the whites, at the time. And I learned a lot from his works.
Yeah.
I can say that I read the autobiography of Malcolm X at a young age, you know, not in prison either. Like a lot
Right.
of people like, yo, my first book was the autobiography of
Mhm.
Malcolm X in prison. But
Yeah.
I read that at a very young age, you know,
Mhm.
and like I said, I used to watch Eyes on the Prize when I was younger. So like when he came, I was like you're natural as a young man, um, like I remember we used to have like who was better. Like, you know how you like, yo, Jordan or whatever. We used to be
Mhm.
like, yo, who you more like, Malcolm or Martin? And everybody wanted to be Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Like in my circle, because Malcolm, it wasn't like, and no disrespect to MLK, it just was like he turns the other cheek, and
Mhm.
Malcolm wouldn't turn the other cheek. Malcolm
Mhm.
was, you know, like sturdy, as they would say. You
Well,
know, stuck
yeah.
to principle and
Firm,
more
firm,
forthcoming. Right, right, right,
and
right. And didn't back down to nobody.
yeah, and to piggyback off of what you're saying, like you seen him demonstrated in his debates or his speeches. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, yeah, there's an Audible book where you could download like a bulk of his speeches. Like it's like a $5 Audible book, and it has like
Right.
I think like 4 or 5 hours of his speeches. So it was dope. You see how sharp the brother is when it comes to speaking, and definitely dope. A brave brother that put his life on the line to stand for his beliefs. You know, word man, big respect, big honor to our brother El Hajj Malik Shabazz, formerly known as Malcolm X. Man. For those of you that we're about to end this episode, and for those of you that stay tuned, we're about to go into Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links 30th anniversary. So we'll be back on in like a minute or two, and we'll get back on that. Make sure you hit that like, that subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Drop some comments on what you think of Malcolm X. Maybe you was at Harlem Week, seen them unveil that. Just let us know what you think about Malcolm X and drop some comments. Peace and love. Salute.
Peace.